Okay, Hare Krishna, devotees, we thank you all for being here. We are blessed. We have Her Grace, Mother Malati Devi, who will be speaking to us today. And today being a very special day, she's going to give us a very special discussion with Qatar today. So, Mother Malati, please, you may take it over from here. Hare Krishna.
Yes. So I already started with Magyan, etc. So
Yes,
I'm just going to
yes,
continue here. So it is the sacred disappearance day of His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. According to our um, general world calendar, his departure was November 14th, 1977 at 7:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, which would be 9 a.m. in Eastern Time, and I'm not sure your time. He was in his room at Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, and he gave his final instruction by leaving this mortal world and going back to Godhead. So his departure was exemplary, as was his life. His departure marked the completion of a lifetime of pure devotional service to Krishna. A few days before the end, Srila Prabhupada had said he was instructing as far as he could, and his secretary had added, "You are the inspiration." Yes, Srila Prabhupada replied, "That I shall do until the last breathing." Srila Prabhupada's last breath was glorious, not because of any minute mystical demonstration, but because Srila Prabhupada remained in perfect Krishna consciousness. Just like Grandfather Bhishma Dev, he remained completely collected, noble and grave, teaching until the end. He was preaching that life comes from life, not from matter, and he was showing that one could preach with every breath, no matter what your condition was. Many devotees who crowded the large room bore witness to that up until the very end. Srila Prabhupada remained exactly the same. There was nothing incongruous. There was nothing suddenly incongruous with what he had previously shown and taught. At the time of his departure, therefore, he was teaching how to live and how to die by always depending on Krishna. Srila Prabhupada's passage was serenely beautiful, peaceful. During the early evening of November 14th, the Kaviraj, his Ayurvedic doctor, asked him, "Is there anything you want?" And Prabhupada faintly replied, because he could barely speak, "Kuch icha nahi, I have no desire." His passing was a perfect situation. He was in Vrindavan, surrounded by his devotees who were chanting the glorious Hare Krishna Mahamantra. A few months previously, a young girl, 14 years of age, the daughter of one of Srila Prabhupada's disciples, had passed away in Vrindavan. Her mother had brought her there when it became clear there was no alternative of any cure for her daughter's cancer. So Prabhupada had been asked if she went back to Godhead. Her name was Manisha. And he was asked if she went back to Godhead to personally associate with Krishna. And he had said, yes, anyone who leaves his body in Vrindavan is liberated. Today, tomorrow, everyone must die. Just chant Hare Krishna and everything will be all right. Vrindavan also means a state of pure Krishna consciousness. Advaita Acharya had said of Lord Chaitanya, "Wherever you are is Vrindavan." And this was also true of Srila Prabhupada. Had Srila Prabhupada passed away in London, New York, or Moscow, his destination would have been the same. Krishna states in the Gita, one who always think of me, surely he attains to me. But because Vrindavan Dham is the quintessential realm of Krishna consciousness within the universe, the ideal place for departure from this world, especially for devotees. So it was yet another exemplary feature of Srila Prabhupada's life that he went back to Godhead with Vrindavan as his last junction. At the same time, he had been fully prepared to leave this world preaching on top of the Manhattan ISKCON skyscraper building, as he said, dying on the battlefield. Oops, sorry, just a moment here. Sorry. Okay. Vaishnavas who have taken the vow never to risk leaving Vrindavan could see that Srila Prabhupada, after sacrificing everything, including the benefit of residing in Vrindavan, to deliver fallen souls in the most God-forsaken corrupt locations of the world, had today returned to the holy land of Vrindavan, and from there had departed from the original abode, for the original abode of Lord Krishna in the spiritual sky. Bhagavatam assures us, anyone who executes service in Vrindavan certainly goes back to Godhead after giving up his body. Srila Prabhupada's departure was also perfect because he was chanting and hearing the holy names of God, of Krishna, and thus the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present at Krishna's passing, just as he was present at the celebrated passage of Bhishmadev, who said, despite his being equally kind to everyone, Krishna has graciously come before me while I'm ending my life, for I'm his unflinching servitor. As Lord Krishna came before Bhishmadev, assuring him and everyone else that Bhishmadev was returning back to Godhead on leaving his body. So the Lord, in his incarnation of Namavatar, of the holy name, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, was present for Srila Prabhupada's departure. His departure had been his life had been dedicated to spreading the holy name to every town and village throughout the world. And for a month, he had been surrounding himself with the holy name. For his passing away, he especially wanted to fill the room with devotees chanting Hare Krishna, and Krishna fulfilled that wish. Srila Prabhupada therefore departed under the most favorable circumstances possible in the most sacred place, Sri Vrindavan Dham, surrounded by Vaishnavas, his disciples chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As an ideal spiritual teacher, an acharya always acts in such a way that others may follow his example. Srimad Bhagavatam states, and this is just a beautiful meditation, those great souls who cross over the ocean of birth and death by taking shelter of the boat of the lotus feet of Krishna, miraculously leave the boat on this side for others to use. In other words, we are never abandoned. Srila Prabhupada's disappearance by his perfect example affords all conditioned souls the means for meeting the greatest of all dangers. An auspicious death is not merely a matter of psychological adjustment so that one may die without regret or without becoming unduly upset. The real point is that at the time of death, the soul must leave the body and take its next birth. Only a Krishna conscious soul can leave this world of birth and death and attain eternal blissful life in the spiritual world, and therefore one's life is tested at death. Over the last month of his life in this world, Srila Prabhupada taught how it's possible to meet death step by step in Krishna consciousness. In his last days, he told one of his sannyasis, don't think this isn't going to happen to you. Prabhupada came into this world on Krishna's request to teach us how to live a pure life of Krishna consciousness. And that includes how to finally pass away from this world to attain eternal life. Srila Prabhupada underwent death in a way that was perfect and glorious, and at the same time, in a way which we can all follow. When it's our time to go, we can cling to the memory of how the great soul left his body, always thinking of Krishna, surrounding himself with the medicine of chanting Hare Krishna, always desiring to hear about Krishna and practicing detachment from the miseries of the material condition. This last lesson was one of the most wonderful and important instructions given to us by Srila Prabhupada. By his life he taught, by his books, and in the and by his death. Education and how to die is meant especially for the human being. An animal dies, and a human being also dies. But a human being is supposed to understand the process of going back to the spiritual world at the time of death, remaining always fixed and undisturbed in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada expertly taught the process. His passage, therefore, was a perfectly valuable lesson and one that can be faithfully followed. Well, there was nothing lamentable for Srila Prabhupada in his departing from the world and going back to Godhead. It was certainly lamentable for us, his followers, and for the people of the whole world, who suddenly became bereft of the presence of their greatest well-wisher and benefactor. Srila Prabhupada had written in a Bhagavatam purport, when the mortal body of the spiritual master expires, the disciple should cry exactly like the queen cries when the king leaves his body. At the departure of his own spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada had written, on that day, O my master, I made a cry of grief. I was not able to tolerate the absence of you, my Guru. And so on November 14th, 1977, as the powerful news spread around the world, even without internet, those who knew and loved Srila Prabhupada were gripped by a fearful, unrestricted grief. We saw everything around us in the overwhelming atmosphere of separation from Srila Prabhupada. And for solace, many of us turned to Srila Prabhupada's books. And others took those same books and filled their book bags. And in their deepest grief and sorrow to connect closer to Prabhupada, went out on the streets, went out to the airports, went to the train stations to distribute Prabhupada in the form of his beautiful books. However, the disciples and the spiritual master are really never separated, because the spiritual master always keeps company with the disciple as long as we follow the instructions of the spiritual master. This is called association of Vani. Physical presence is called Vapu. As long as the spiritual master is physically present, the disciple should serve the physical body of the spiritual master. And when the spiritual master is no longer physically existing, the disciples serve the instructions of the spiritual master. We were already carrying out his instructions, and from day one, practically speaking, he had informed us about the overwhelming importance of the Vani, of the service in separation. But now we would have to do so without the Vapu, without the opportunity of regularly seeing and being with him. Now it was real. At first, this was very difficult to face, but those who were sincere soon realized Srila Prabhupada had, upon his departure, given us the greatest gift of all, his service and separation. When Srila Prabhupada departed from the world and left us to carry on his mission, we immediately realized union with him in separation. Yes, he was gone, but yes, he was still very much present. This realization was not a pretension or a myth, nor was it sentimental psychic phenomena, telepathic communication with the dead, or so on. It was completely substantial, practical, palpable reality. In fact, it was a fact of life. Srila Prabhupada had given us personal instruction, and now we would continue in his service as he would have expected us to do. He was still present through his instructions, and all the nectar of his direct association, all the nectar of Krishna consciousness that he had given and shared with us was still available. Service and separation for his disciples was now undoubtedly a fact. Otherwise, now that they were without his personal presence, how were we able to sustain ourselves in spiritual life? The fact that we could continue on as before increased our feelings of devotion and even increased our service capacity. And it meant that Srila Prabhupada was still very much with us. Srila Prabhupada's last instruction was that the lesson of how a human being should die, he now taught beyond dying, how to practically implement the highest philosophical teachings of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. This realization gave all of us great hope that Srila Prabhupada and the revolutionary life of Krishna consciousness that he had brought with him was not finished upon his departure. Often, when a great personality dies, his contributions collapse. It even happened with Lord Chaitanya. But Srila Prabhupada's presence has remained and expanded, sustaining our lives. He was still in charge. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. And some may say, oh, where are those disciples that were among the first? Yes, some have fallen away. Yes, some do fall away. But the proof of Prabhupada's purity and potency is how this movement has carried on in spite of all the difficulties that have shown up. By just a few, however many there are, and there are a great many, who are still grasping hold of his instructions to this very day and very proudly sharing them with others at every opportunity. Once on his Guru Maharaj's disappearance day, Srila Prabhupada said, on the absolute platform, there is no difference between the appearance and the disappearance of the spiritual master. Both are beautiful, just like the sunrise and the sunset. So although we feel separation, within that separation, our remembrance of Srila Prabhupada is heightened, and thus we experience the beauty of his presence in separation. So this is like one synopsis. Now, there is another aspect that I could talk about. I don't know how much time you all have, but it's a beautiful synopsis that I give the credit.
We have enough time, Mother, please.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'm going to continue with the beautiful pastime of Prabhupada's desire to travel by bullock cart. And I'm giving full and all credit to His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj for his wonderful realizations that he has shared in this particularly beautiful, intimate, deep pastime. So a few days before he was to leave, Srila Prabhupada expressed a desire to travel by bullock cart to different holy places in India. Lokanath Swami had been traveling by bullock cart to different places of pilgrimage, and Srila Prabhupada was very enlivened when Lokanath Swami reported to him in Vrindavan. Srila Prabhupada said he too would like to go on pilgrimage on a bullock cart, and he asked Maharaj to arrange it. And he was enthusiastic to do so, having been encouraged by Srila Prabhupada in such a direct, personal way. Immediately, he went to organize the cart and make the arrangements. So Govardhan Puja was to take place in a couple of days. Prabhupada said he would begin his pilgrimage by traveling on a bullock cart to Govardhan Hill to celebrate Govardhan Puja with the Vrajabasis. At that time, Srila Prabhupada was completely bedridden. He was emaciated. He was unable to eat. He hadn't eaten for so long. And he was only able to sip just a tiny little liquid intermittently. He was very gaunt and weak, without energy. He would just lie on his bed, and sometimes with great difficulty he would speak softly, so faintly that only those who were very close could hear his words. But amazingly enough, throughout this situation, he continued with his purports to the 13th chapter of the 10th canto. Without eating, barely sleeping, unable to sit or walk, disciples held the mic by his lotus mouth as he spoke those purports. There had been many devotees in the room when Srila Prabhupada had his exchange with Lokanath Swami. Immediately after the discussion ended, devotees went outside and they began to express two strong, heartfelt opinions about what Srila Prabhupada should do. And more than that, how we as disciples should relate to Srila Prabhupada and serve him in these critical moments. One group, which included Lokanath Swami and other esteemed senior disciples, felt that we should just do exactly what the spiritual master ordered. We shouldn't question his order. We should just execute it. On the other hand, some disciples, many of whom had been intimately attending Prabhupada's personal care, felt that Prabhupada's health would not sustain his travels on a bullock cart because he was so emaciated. He was literally flesh and bones. No flesh, just bones. It would be very painful for him to go. Even if they padded the bullock cart with a mattress, it was still a basic wooden bullock cart. There was no suspension, and the roads in Braj, especially at that time, were so rough. Gigantic potholes, rarely any pavement. So the movement of the cart would jostle Prabhupada, and he would feel pain. So devotees feared he might even give up his body on the bullock cart, and they did not want him to be subjected to what they saw as certain pain and perhaps the dire consequence of his death. But the second position was very difficult to maintain under the circumstance because Srila Prabhupada was so emphatic. Let me travel to the Tirthastans, he said, to all the holy places. And whatever objections devotees had raised against the proposal, he countered. One day experiment, he responded. Rest assured, I will not die in one day. Even when Srila Prabhupada's Kaviraj, the doctor, had predicted that with all the jostling on the bullock cart, Srila Prabhupada would not survive more than 2 hours, Prabhupada replied, but I think I shall be cured. Tamal Krishna Goswami, Bhakti True Swami, Bhakti Sri Damodar Swami, Bhavananda Maharaj, and others strongly felt this experiment would have dire consequences. how to convince Prabhupada. So the controversy continued. And when Prabhupada said, I think I shall be cured, Hamsaduta and others took it to mean he was supporting their position. But the other took it differently. What does it mean he's going to be cured? It means he's going to leave his body and get a spiritual body? That's how he's going to be cured? Each party was seeing things in a particular way that supported their particular point of view. And finally, things came to the point where the bullock cart was waiting outside the gates of Krishna Balaram Mandir by Srila Prabhupada's quarters. Everything was ready for the devotees who were in the mood that Srila Prabhupada should stay. It was just like when the residents of Vrindavan saw Akrura getting the chariot ready to take Krishna to Mathura. It was simply unbearable. On the evening before his planned departure, Srila Prabhupada was lying in his bed. I'm sure many of you have seen his bed in his house in Vrindavan. Bhakti Sri Swami was in the room, and Srila Prabhupada's dear god brother and intimate friend Akinchana Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj came to visit. Babaji Maharaj was a very advanced devotee. Srila Prabhupada said he was a Paramahansa. He was always engaged in Harinam, absorbed in Harinam.
I'm wonderful.
He was always blissful. And he and Prabhupada had an extraordinary, affectionate, intimate relationship. So Bhakti True Maharaj thought, let me appeal to Babaji Maharaj. If he asks Prabhupada not to go, Prabhupada may listen. So Bhakti True Maharaj was speaking with Babaji Maharaj. And in the meantime, upstairs, Tamal Krishna Goswami, Bhavamananda Maharaj, and others were in his former bedroom talking. While Babaji Maharaj was sitting at Prabhupada's bedside, they all came down in a very emotional state. Srila Prabhupada was very aware what they were thinking, so he asked, so you request me not to go? Well, Krishna responds,
Mother, I don't know what happened. Your audio is off.
you have to go when you're in this delicate condition. I can't understand it. All right, said Srila Prabhupada. Just like that. All right, I will not go. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada, said Bhavananda. I was also in too much anxiety. Prabhupada said, no, I cannot put you in anxiety. I shall do what you like. My right hand and my left hand, I cannot refuse. And then Tamal Krishna said, actually, Srila Prabhupada, we're so attached to you that practically you drive us to madness sometimes. Tonight we were becoming mad. Prabhupada said, no, I shall not do that. And to Babaji Maharaj, he said, just see how much they love me. Then Tamal Krishna said, Srila Prabhupada, the way you deal with us simply deepens our attachment at every moment. And Srila Prabhupada replies, it is my duty. It is my duty. For the devotees in the room, it was a jubilant occasion, and Srila Prabhupada had agreed to wait. As Tamal Krishna Goswami had said, we will take you on Tirtha Yatra to all the places. Just get a little stronger. But when the news reached the other group, they were upset. This is not our duty as disciples to try to prevail upon our spiritual master. Our duty is to execute his will. He said he wants to go by bullock cart to Govardhan. Our duty is to arrange for what he wants. Our duty is not to advise him or prevail upon him according to our perception. The controversy continued until the end, the anniversary of which is today. Prabhupada spent his last 3 days with his disciples at the Krishna Balaram Mandir, and on the last day, he didn't speak. His only words were in the evening when the Kaviraj asked him to drink some juice, and he replied, Meri Kuchita Nahin, I have no desire. After that, Srila Prabhupada didn't speak. He was in a completely internal state of consciousness, and the devotees surrounded him with waves of kirtan. In the last few hours in the afternoon, the leaders opened up the doors to everyone. Previously, it was kept very quiet. Only a few select persons who were understood to chant as Prabhupada would like were allowed in. But now, suddenly, young, old, children, men and women, they were all allowed to be in the room with Srila Prabhupada to reciprocate love with him. Anyone could touch his lotus body. Anyone could massage him. My dear exalted God sister Vishwa Devi, she had actually sneaked in before the doors were officially opened, and she put herself by his lotus head, and she didn't look up. She just stayed there at his lotus head, silently weeping and silently praying and chanting for him. Now everyone was allowed. And then at about 7:26 p.m., his tongue and mouth moved. Hare Krishna. And he left. As for the controversy, it continued. The feelings ran strong on both sides, even after he left. And now I'm going to reflect from the beautiful realizations and mood of Srila Giriraj Swami. He was saying after Prabhupada left that he still couldn't determine who was right. There were senior devotees, those who were senior to him on both sides, devotees who he respected and he had served. And personally, he might have been closer to some of the ones engaged in Prabhupada's personal service, but he still wasn't sure who was right. And it was on his mind. He had this practice, a habit, to chant japa in Srila Prabhupada's rooms when Prabhupada was absent. So after he departed, he did that. He was in his room chanting japa behind his bed in a little area where the bookshelves were. And somehow he found a little corner there chanting japa when his eyes fell upon the new volume of the Bhagavatam that had just arrived. It was the 10th canto, volume 2, and had been delivered into Srila Prabhupada's hands in his last days. And with the devotees present, Srila Prabhupada had looked at the pictures, and everyone could see the love in his eyes. Tamal Krishna Goswami had remarked how much love for Krishna Prabhupada has. It was evident from the way Prabhupada was looking at the pictures of Krishna. And this book had gold embossing. It was in a special edition made for Srila Prabhupada. So Giriraj Swami opened it up, and it happened to be chapter 9. Mother Yasoda binds Krishna. He read a few verses in purports, and he came to a verse and answered his question. It was text 10. Oh, Maharaj Pariksit, this entire universe with its great exalted demigods like Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, and Lord Indra is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yet the Supreme Lord has one transcendental attribute. He comes under the control of his devotees. This was how now exhibited by Krishna in this pastime. And Maharaj said the pastime is encapsulated in the previous verse, 18, because Because of Mother Yasoda's hard labor, her whole body became covered with perspiration, and the flowers in the comb were falling from her hair. When child Krishna saw his mother thus fatigued, out of love he became merciful to her, and he agreed to be bound. So Maharaj read these verses and he thought, this is what happened. The spiritual master is a transparent via medium through which Krishna manifests himself. And in Braj Bhakti, the relationship with Krishna is different. In Braj, Krishna exhibits Nara Lila, human-like pastimes, in which there's complete intimacy and freedom between the devotee and the Lord. Now, in the relationship between disciples and the spiritual master, there's always elements of awe and reverence and duty. But still, duty is meant to be led with love. Srila Prabhupada said to Babaji Maharaj, just see how much they love me. Actually, Janaki Devi Dasi, the first lady disciple of Srila Prabhupada, she exhibited spontaneous love without any awe and reverence. And her relationship with Srila Prabhupada was just like that. And Srila Prabhupada reciprocated. He once referred to her in a letter to Yamuna as my naughty daughter. No awe and reverence. Now, a month earlier, there'd been another incident. Srila Prabhupada had stopped drinking. Previously, he had said when his father wanted to leave his body, his father stopped drinking. And that was a bona fide way to give up one's body when the time came. So Srila Prabhupada didn't make any announcement or anything. He just stopped drinking. And his servant, Upendra, a sweet devotee, very innocently, he said to Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you have to drink. If you don't drink, you will become dehydrated. Prabhupada replied, oh, you want me to drink? Call the GBC. So that decision, whether Prabhupada should drink or not, was no small matter. So his nurse, Abhiram, informed the GBC, and the GBC and senior devotees came into the room. Prabhupada said, if I want to survive, of course, I'll have to take something. But my survival means so much inconveniences to all of you, and therefore I have decided to die peacefully. Everything is in the hands of Krishna, said Tamal Krishna. And that had been the mood coming from Srila Prabhupada. Everything depends on Krishna. Many times Prabhupada had said he would accept whatever Krishna desired. If Krishna allowed him to stay, he would stay. And if Krishna wanted him to go, he would go. Previously, a disciple had asked Prabhupada, Prabhupada, you said that your Guru Maharaj had left early because he was disgusted. Is that the case with you? And Prabhupada replied, no. If Krishna allows me to stay in your association, I will be most happy to stay in your association. Now, however, Srila Prabhupada opened his eyes and said, Krishna wants me to do as I like. The choice is mine. He has given me full freedom. This was a different mood, a completely different answer. And it gives a glimpse into the intimate association and reciprocation between Krishna and Prabhupada. So all the devotees left the anteroom and they discussed. Kirtanananda Swami point was most clear, lucid, and intelligent. He said, if Krishna has given Prabhupada the choice, and if Prabhupada is giving us the choice, then we should ask Prabhupada to stay. And everyone agreed, yes, we should ask him to stay. And then one devotee said, but all of the GPC men aren't here. And Brahmananda retorted, come on, what GBC is going to stay? They don't want Prabhupada to stay. So it was decided unanimously. They would go back to Prabhupada's room and they would tell him, we want you to stay. And Kirtanananda Swami was elected to be the spokesperson. So when they went back to the room, Prabhupada was quietly lying on his bed. And as soon as the devotees finished offering obeisances, Kirtanananda Swami broke down and started sobbing. He couldn't speak. Brahmananda was sitting behind him, so he rubbed his back to soothe him. And somehow Kirtanananda managed. If Krishna has given you the choice, then don't go. We need you. And I would say, we love you. Srila Prabhupada asked, is this your joint opinion? Have you discussed? Yes, we have all met together and we want you to remain and lead the movement and finish the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada was silent for what seemed like an eternity. And then he yawned and he said, all right, just like that. He agreed to stay in such a nonchalant way, and all the devotees were jubilant. Within themselves, they were rejoicing. And Prabhupada said, this is real affection. So His Holiness Giriraj Swami, in putting these two incidents together, in both cases, saw when the disciples had expressed themselves, we want you to stay, we want you to get healthy. Prabhupada had said, this is real love. Just see how much they love me. All of the disciples in the controversy were acting on the basis of the realization of their devotion for Srila Prabhupada. But it seemed that what Prabhupada was really doing was drawing out loving sentiments beyond just that of following an order. It's a given. Following the order of the spiritual master is a given. There's no question. We have to follow the order of the spiritual master. To disobey the order of the spiritual master is an offense against the holy name. It's a basic principle of spiritual life. So we're not talking about disobeying the order of the spiritual master. We're talking about developing deeper, loving feelings for the spiritual master and expressing them to him. When Srila Prabhupada brought everyone to that stage in these two incidents, he commented, this is real love. Just see how much they love me. One time in John Lennon's place, when we were living there, Jamuna Devi had been sick, so she'd been absent for a few days from her regular service. And then she came out and she saw Srila Prabhupada on his morning walk across the field, and spontaneously she just shouted out, Srila Prabhupada, I love you. And Srila Prabhupada just turned and smiled at her. Relating the verse in the 10th canto to what Srila Prabhupada did, there's also a parallel between the Damodar Leela and that principle of spontaneous love. Each night during the month of Damodar, we recite the Damodar Astikam, including that third verse that Iti Driksvalila Birananda Kunde Sagosham Nimasatam Kai Payantam. So by such pastimes, he is drowning the inhabitants of Gokul in pools of ecstasy and revealing to those devotees who are absorbed in knowledge of his supreme majesty and opulence that he's only conquered by devotees whose pure love is imbued with intimacy and is free from all conceptions of awe and reverence. So this is a very deep pastime of Srila Prabhupada's. Among the disciples who were around him at that moment, it was understood that he was the perfect Acharya. He had taught us by his example how to live in Krishna consciousness, and he was now teaching us how to die in Krishna consciousness. This was the general idea in those months and weeks, but he was showing us how to retire to a holy place and how to be absorbed in hearing the holy names of the Lord, and how up until the end, even in his most delicate condition, he was nonetheless pushing the movement forward by translating and dictating purports to the Bhagavatam up to the very end. In this way, he was showing us how to live and die in Krishna consciousness. But within that final lesson, he also brought the devotees to this more intimate level of exchange where we could express to him our heart's desires in spite of the barriers he was deliberately putting up. He deliberately put up barriers and then inspired us to break those barriers and to reach out to him, expressing our love for him by asking him to please stay with us. Divine grace, Srila Prabhupada's Mahotsava Ki Jai, Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada's Disappearance Day Ki Jai. So again, I offer my respectful obeisances to His Holiness Giriraj for the deep insight he has shared with all of us, and I've just shared with all of you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mother. I'm lost of words. Everyone is kind of paralyzed from what you shared with us. But it's also, I believe, a reminder to all of us how much Prabhupada inconvenienced himself just to help us.
Yes.
And the least we could do is to express our gratitude to him by trying to follow what he taught us.
Not trying, just do it.
Just do it. Thank you so much, Mother.
Yeah. Maybe we can just call out all together, Srila Prabhupada, we love you. Srila Prabhupada.
Sure. I mean, everybody.
Srila Prabhupada.
Srila Prabhupada, we love you.
We love you, Srila Prabhupada, we love you. Thank you, Srila Prabhupada. And thank you for giving me this opportunity. I'm so fortunate because actually I have COVID, so I'm locked up in my cabin and I'm getting to meet so many devotees by the mercy of Zoom. Even I'm in New Vrindavan and I gave class this morning in Zoom because I have to stay away from the devotees.
Oh, we wish you speedy recuperation. And devotees, I don't think anybody may have something to share. I'm just speculating because it's a very humbling moment. It's a very difficult time. So,
yes, but if somebody has something to share, they should do so.
Okay, Govinda Prabhu, please you may unmute and go ahead to speak.
Thank you very much, Sadi Prabhu. Mother, I would like to offer my respectful
Govinda, I hope you're parked. I hope you're not driving right now.
Yes, I just
parked, right? Okay, thank you.
Yes, I just parked. Thank you very, very much. And my respectful obeisances for the bottom of my heart to you, and my obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Mother, I'm really, really touched by your love that you're always expressing and sharing about Srila Prabhupada. And the voice that you are hearing, the voice that is coming out of you, I see nothing but the tears of love that you have for Srila Prabhupada. And you are the perfect emblem of the love for Srila Prabhupada. And we love you and love you and love you, and we continue to love you eternally. Please bless us. Please pray on our behalf material world is so difficult. This entanglement of the illusory energy of the Lord is so powerful, very, very powerful, that it's not easy to come out. The devotees are trying. The devotees are willing and wishing to come out of this illusory energy, but it's not easy. It's not easy. And Krishna loves his devotees. Krishna answers to his devotees. And we know that Srila Prabhupada would answer to your prayer on behalf of all of us. So today, we are asking you to please lead to Srila Prabhupada on our behalf, so that under all circumstances, we can remain as a servants and servant and servant and servants of the Divine Grace mission. Srila Prabhupada came with a mission, and today we're begging that you pray so that we can also have a mission in the mission of Srila Prabhupada, that all of us individually should have something at heart that we like to glorify Srila Prabhupada with. And this can never be possible without the mercy of Srila Prabhupada. And who are we to reach out to Srila Prabhupada? But please, please pray on our behalf, so that in this our lifetime, we may be able to do something little just to please Srila Prabhupada. Thank you very much for your love for Srila Prabhupada, and your love for his mission, and your love for all the devotees. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. And I also request that you may pray to that I can somehow or other become somewhat of a worthy disciple of His divine grace. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much, Mother. Anyone else with something to share, please? Mother, I think somehow Hari Chakra Prabhu has something to say, but I was thinking that, Govinda Prabhu somehow has been inspired to speak on behalf of all of us gathered here today. So that is just our desire and wish that we never forsake Srila Prabhupada's toil for us. He didn't need to do what he did, but he did what he did simply because of us. And Arichakra Prabhu, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Mother.
Hare
Thank you
Krishna.
very
Hare
much.
Bol, Hare Chakra Prabhu.
My obeisances to you and my obeisances to Prabhupada in the Guru Parampara. Thank you very much. Actually, when you were discussing this, we've been hearing over and over again how the spiritual master is the representative of Krishna. But today, the past time that you just related, and the Krishna book that you quoted, that when there was this argument among the devotees, and later on Viraj Maharaj saw that passage in the Krishna book and read it, where Madhya Yashoda wanted to bind Krishna, and when Krishna saw the love in her heart and in her eyes, and Krishna himself decided, okay, I will allow you to bind me. I mean, the way you related it to the way Prabhupada also said, okay, if you don't want me to go, then I will not go. I mean, it hit me so hard that actually the spiritual master is truly the representative of Krishna. He was actually displaying the pastimes of Krishna right under the nose of his devotees. Thank you very much for sharing this. It actually has enhanced the little that I have heard. It has become very enhanced now. So thank you, Mother. Thank you very much. This pastime has done a lot. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Arichakra Prabhu. Dear devotees and Mother Malati, I'm pleading with you, if you wouldn't mind, there is one very quick video I wanted to play to kind of help highlight a comment you made that Srila Prabhupada said that when the spiritual master leaves, one should cry just like a queen will mourn for the departure of the king. So it's a very brief video, so I'm going to share with the devotees.
So in this way, gradually, I became attached to these Gaudiya Mount activities, and by the grace of Krishna, my business also was not going very well. Krishna says, "Sahon Nigrindami Hariseta Dhanam Sane." If somebody wants to be actually devotee of Krishna, at the same time keeps his material attachment, then Krishna's business is he takes away everything material so that same person he becomes, dependent on Krishna. So that actually happened to my life. I was obliged to come to this movement, to take up this very seriously. And I was dreaming that Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is calling me, "Please come out with me." So I was sometimes horrified. What is this? I have to give up my family life. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is calling me. I have to take sannyas. Oh, I was horrified. But I saw several times calling me. So anyway, it is by His grace I was forced to give up my family life and so-called business life. And He brought me somewhere or other in preaching His gospel. So, this is a memorable day. What He deserved, I am trying little bit, and you are all helping me. So I have to thank you more. You are actually representative of my Guru Maharaj. Because you are helping me in executing the order of my Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much.
Prabhupada. Thank you very much. Could you send me that link? Could you, on the WhatsApp, can you send me the link for that? Thank you.
Yes, Mother, I will.
That's a very, it's very well known, but I haven't seen like that video like that, and I would like to share.
Yeah, thank you, Mother.
So I want to try to get, it's like 12:04, they're doing Abhishek. So I can't go in person, but I want to try to get online and see if I can attend.
Yes, thank you so much, Mother. So we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the Lotus Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to Mother for giving us her love and wisdom, especially on this very fateful day. So you may all unmute, please. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna,
Hare
Hare Hare,
Hare
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 Rama,
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama
Rama,
Rama, Hare
Rama
Hare.
Hare Hare.
Nancha
Divine grace,
Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha
Vipasana
Pattanam
Devacha,
Nam
Pavanebhyo.
Patana
Pavanindyo.
Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha.
All glories to
Divine
Her Grace
grace,
Malati
Srila
Devi ki.
Prabhupada ki jai.
Yeah.
Jai.
I don't know if you can see.